Astonishment, admiration, and deep reflection are the emotions that washed over me. After researching and learning about more than 100 Black public figures connected to the years of ups and downs, the fierce vitality, and the deeply quiet current lives of music legends. Hello everyone, we are our Memory Vault, and this is the video 19 oldest Black R&B legends who are still alive today. This greatly impacts how we view and cherish artistic legacies, while the people who created them are still present in our era, and it might just leave you stunned. This video is perfect to play while you are resting, enjoying a meal with your family, or doing chores around the house. All the information in this video has been carefully researched and gathered from multiple sources. If there are any oversights, please leave a comment below to help our channel continue to grow. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and ring the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos. Now let us step right into the stories of our first figures. Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder is not merely a child prodigy or a singer. He is a great sage of popular music. Losing his sight right from birth, darkness may have obscured his eyes, but it inadvertently opened an immensely vast vision deep within his soul. Through the keys of a piano, the sound of a harmonica, and a radiant voice, Stevie painted a brilliantly colorful world of love, peace, and tolerance. From signing a contract with Motown Records at just 12 years old to possessing countless prestigious Grammy Awards, he used his very physical limitation to create astonishing perfections for art. From a philosophical perspective, Stevie Wonder's life is a beautiful testament to the fact that human limits only lie within the imagination. I always believed that precisely because he was not distracted by the superficial, flashy things of the outside world that mortal eyes often see, Stevie was able to listen to and understand the most authentic heartbeats of humanity. Even after experiencing a severe traffic accident in 1973 that put him in a deep coma, the first thing he did upon waking up was not to blame fate, but to listen to his own heartbeat to continue composing. For older audiences who always cherish human values, the current image of Stevie Wonder brings a strangely wonderful peace. In his twilight years, he chose a quiet lifestyle, spending many months of the year in Ghana to meditate, write music, and care for orphan children. He no longer needs the noise of massive stages to prove his class. Stevie Wonder taught us a priceless lesson. Sometimes those who possess seeing eyes often miss the simple beauties of life, while a person who cannot see the sunlight can light a brilliant torch, illuminating the path for an entire generation with love and immortal faith. Tina Turner. Tina Turner is globally honored as the Queen of Rock and Roll, possessing fiery dance steps, a burning source of energy, and an incredibly powerful, raspy voice. Yet before reaching the pinnacle of glory, as a solo artist, her life was once imprisoned in a dark space, seemingly without a way out. For many years, Tina had to brace herself to endure deep physical and mental traumas under a suffocating and highly oppressive roof. The image of a female artist having to apply heavy makeup to cover up bruises before stepping onto the stage is one of the most heartbreaking realities about the hidden corners behind the flashing lights. Let us analyze her resilient journey to reclaim her true self. The decision to flee in the middle of the night with less than $50 in her pocket to free herself is one of the most iconic moments in feminist history. I highly value Tina's bravery. She accepted giving up all her assets and all the halo she had just to exchange for one single thing: the right to master her own life. The journey of starting over at an age many considered too late, from cleaning recording studios to rising up as a global legend, is an inspiring epic for millions of women who have fallen into adversity. Even though in her twilight years her health was challenged by many illnesses, the way Tina faced them was incredibly composed and serene. Her choosing to live a reclusive life in the peaceful hills of Switzerland, away from all media noise, to enjoy belated happiness beside her sincere life partner, is a perfectly complete ending. To the audience, Tina Turner is not just a music icon, but she is the embodiment of a mountain still towering and impossible to knock down. She proved that no one has the right to dictate your destiny unless you allow them to do so. The rise of Tina Turner is truly admirable. But ahead still lie massive shocks. Who is the renowned poet who once pushed himself into the darkest abyss before awakening? Please do not take your eyes off the screen. Dionne Warwick. Dionne Warwick is one of the most elegant, classy, and influential voices of the 20th century. Unlike the explosive nature of many contemporary artists, Dionne's music is like a crystal-clear stream, gently weaving into the listener's soul through classic songs like Walk On By or That's What Friends Are For. She is the embodiment of calmness, nostalgic values, and sophistication in both her vocal delivery and performance demeanor. However, behind the image of an exemplary lady, Dionne was once entangled in highly bizarre media controversies related to intuition and the spiritual world, something the entertainment industry always viewed with skepticism and judgment. Through the lens of analyzing mental capabilities, Dionne Warwick's participation in programs sharing about intuition in the 90s opened up a massive wave of debate when she bravely shared her incredibly accurate premonitions about future events. Instead of being viewed with an open mind, the media immediately attached highly prejudiced labels to her. I believe that society often tends to reject and mock things that science cannot yet fully explain. Her greatest pain did not lie in losing commercial contracts, but in the hurt when the sincerity and sharp intuition of an artist were made a joke of on the front pages of newspapers. Yet the way Dionne Warwick responded to public opinion is what truly makes the character of a legend. Instead of rushing into pointless arguments, she chose to step back into a quiet life, living peacefully with her small dogs and old recordings in New Jersey. Recently, her reappearance on social media with profound, humorous, and incredibly insightful advice has proven one thing: wisdom and grace will never be eroded by time. Dionne Warwick spent her whole life singing about empathy, and the way she smiled through the storms of public opinion is the strongest affirmation of a proud soul, one that never lets the world muddy her peace. Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson was praised by Bob Dylan, another music legend, as America's greatest living poet, as the creative soul of Motown Records. Smokey penned countless timeless love songs, turning sorrow into the smoothest and most brilliant melodies. His soft falsetto voice has the ability to comfort bleeding hearts. He is an outstanding storyteller of love, always appearing with a dapper look and a warm smile. However, few could expect that the very man who specialized in healing the broken hearts of audiences once went through a phase where he pushed his own life into an incredibly dark abyss of being lost. Let us look at the downfall through the lens of healing. In the 80s, the deadly temptations of the entertainment world surrounded the mind of the poet. The brilliance of the stage lights during the day became hopeless voids at night, forcing him to turn to health-destroying habits to escape reality. I deeply admire Smokey's honesty when he does not hesitate to admit that terrible period. For a music icon to dare to face the ugliest parts of himself to serve as a warning for the next generation requires extraordinary courage. It proves that even the greatest minds have moments of weakness, and the path of art is never a pre-laid carpet of roses. But what makes Smokey Robinson's greatness is his awakening. The event of his determination to shake off all temptations, turn to meditation, a vegan diet, and completely restore his health and voice at an age when many had given up is a miracle of willpower. For audiences who have experienced stumbles in life, Smokey's story provides a boundless source of motivation. In his twilight years, he still maintains the habit of writing music and keeps a highly tranquil pace of life. He is a living testament to the philosophy. It does not matter how deep you have slipped and fallen. What matters is whether you have enough desire to step out of the swamp yourself and rewrite the ending for the book of your life. Patti LaBelle. Patti LaBelle is the embodiment of majesty, power, and limitless explosion on stage. She is honored as the queen of the high notes, someone with the ability to control her voice like a storm sweeping through the minds of the audience. From glamorous outfits and iconic hairstyles to her frantic performance style, Patti always radiates an aura of invincibility. Yet behind that strong exterior, resembling a female warrior, her life is a series of incredibly painful losses, causing her soul to always be besieged by a fear of separation and emptiness. From the perspective of analyzing the loneliness of adulthood, Patti LaBelle's story carries a heavy weight of sorrow. In just a short period, she consecutively had to witness the passing of the most important women in her life: her mother, 3 close sisters, and her longtime manager. I believe that the greatest cruelty for an artist is when they stand at the peak of fame, possessing millions of fans chanting their name. But when the velvet curtain closes, they no longer have a single blood relative to share the joy with. The song "Over the Rainbow," that she once exhausted herself singing to the point of fainting backstage, was not just a performance. It was a calling echoing into eternity sent to her loved ones. Currently in her 80s, Patti lives alone in a massive mansion, always having to keep the lights blazing brightly through the night to chase away the feeling of emptiness. For audiences who always yearn for a warm, gathered home, the truth about the life of this legendary singer leaves a deep, lingering ache. She taught us to understand that wealth or fame has never been a strong enough shield to prevent the pains of life and death. Patti LaBelle continues to sing, continues to shine like a fire that never goes out. She is the most resilient female warrior who has used art itself to fill the mournful voids, even though her heart is full of the scratches of time. Patti LaBelle's loneliness truly leaves us in remorse. But right up next, you will be stunned by queens stripped of their very names and legends, who would rather throw away their halos to keep their faith. The truth will be revealed right now. Gladys Knight, hailed by the world with the beautiful title, Empress of Soul Gladys. Knight possesses a powerful, emotion-filled voice and an incredibly majestic, elegant performance demeanor. Along with the group, the Pips, she created countless musical masterpieces that captivated hearts, becoming a symbol of brilliant success from a very young age. Anyone looking at Gladys's life would think it was a pre-laid carpet of roses, a flawless, perfect picture. However, behind that proud exterior and radiant smile is a woman who once had to taste the ultimate bitterness of betrayed trust when she was stripped of her assets and honor by the very man who once shared her bed. Let us analyze betrayal through the lens of human nature. The incident occurred in the 80s when her marriage fell apart. Not only bringing emotional trauma, her ex-husband also secretly used legal maneuvers to exclusively register the very name Gladys Knight in an attempt to appropriate royalty money from her performances. I believe that the greatest pain for an artist is not the audience turning their backs, but the moment they realize they are stripped of the very name given to them by their parents. The grueling legal battle, lasting for 3 years, soaked in tears, was not just to reclaim assets, but it was a battle to protect the self-respect and the most sacred identity of a human being. For audiences who have experienced ups and downs and betrayal in relationships, the way Gladys Knight stood up from the rubble truly brings a deep admiration. In her twilight years, sitting quietly backstage with a Bible and a picture of her mother, she found absolute peace. She lost many things, but as she once said, "They can take all my possessions, but no one can steal my voice." Gladys Knight is living proof of the extraordinary power of women. When all external anchors collapse, true talent and inner dignity become the sturdiest shield to protect us against all the storms of life. Mavis Staples. In the historical flow of American music, Mavis Staples is praised as the voice of God. Along with her family band, the Staple Singers, she was not just an entertainer but a tireless social activist. Her songs became the anthems that accompanied the footsteps of Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. in the movements demanding equal rights. Mavis's raspy, warm, and weighty voice always contained a great message about love awakening and the thirst for freedom. But when the era changed, her steadfastness to that ideal pushed her into an ironic predicament, being shunned by the music industry itself for being too political and too authentic. Through the lens of analyzing the trade-off between commerce and ideals, Mavis Staples' decision carries an immensely great stature. In 1973, when a television show director forced her to cut out lyrics about freedom just to please sponsors, she resolutely said no. I highly value this bravery in a world where fame and money can easily bend human principles. Mavis would rather accept being crossed off from programs, living a reclusive life for 3 years in her father's old house, than ever lower the value of art. She understood that music is not just for entertainment, but it must be a tool to protect what is right. Today, in her late 80s, Mavis Staples still chooses a single quiet life, surrounded by historical memorabilia and photos of past colleagues. For audiences who always value the integrity of character, Mavis is a priceless icon. She refused marriages or artistic compromises just to be able to sing the voice from her heart. The image of an older woman taking a morning stroll in the park, humming ancient melodies, is living proof of indomitability. Mavis Staples reminds us that even if the whole world turns its back, maintaining the purity of one's conscience remains the most glorious victory of a human life. Otis Williams. The legendary boy band The Temptations was once a storm sweeping through all charts, shaping the golden era of Motown records with synchronized dance steps and flawless voices. And in that original lineup from years ago, Otis Williams was never the lead singer, but he was the glue, the only one who kept the band from falling apart through countless tumultuous events. Today, when all the brothers who once shared the bitter and the sweet have consecutively left this temporary realm due to severe illnesses or downfalls, Otis Williams suddenly becomes the last surviving soldier of an illustrious army bracing himself to shoulder the entire legacy of a legend. Let us analyze the complex psychology of the one left behind survivor's guilt. Witnessing his closest friends consecutively fall on the pedestal of fame leaves an infinite emptiness in Otis's mind. The moment he brought a small radio to the graves of his brothers, like David Ruffin or Eddie Kendricks, turned on the song My Girl, and sat quietly for 3 hours without saying a word, is a heart-wrenchingly haunting image. I believe that Otis's loneliness does not come from the lack of stage lights, but it comes from the fact that he no longer has anyone to reminisce with about their youthful memories. He is like a devoted temple guardian, lonely amidst the cemetery of brilliant nostalgias. To the audiences who have tasted the feeling of bidding farewell to soulmates, the endurance of Otis Williams brings a tearful empathy. Even having stepped into his 80s with pure white hair, he still resiliently stands on stage leading the new generation of members. He goes on tour not in pursuit of more fame, but because of a steadfast oath. As long as he is still breathing the name, the Temptations will never be allowed to die. Otis Williams is a monument of loyalty, teaching us a profound lesson about the value of brotherhood. Greatness sometimes does not lie in shining the brightest, but lies in the endurance. So you can continue to keep the fire burning for those who have forever laid down. Candi Staton. Candi Staton is known worldwide as the performer of the immortal song Young Hearts Run Free, a familiar soundtrack encouraging dead-ended souls to boldly escape mistaken romances. But there is an ironic and heartbreaking truth. The woman who specialized in using her voice to advise humanity locked herself in a vicious cycle of personal tragedies. Stemming from a childhood lacking peace and being constrained by harsh barriers, Candi always carried a burning desire for a safe haven. However, that desire pushed her through 6 marriages, and sadly most of them brought exploitation, deception, and deep mental trauma. Through the lens of analyzing inner vulnerability, Candi Staton's life is a series of bitterly painful trade-offs. The thirst for love made her blind to the flashy facades of her partners. The peak of the tragedy was when her 4th husband secretly sold all the original master recordings, the most precious artistic assets of her life, to satisfy his gambling on the financial market. I assess that Candi's being left empty-handed at that stage was not just material bankruptcy, but it was the complete collapse of her faith in people. She became the victim of the very stories she often sang about every night on stage. Today, when facing the early stages of Alzheimer's disease, the image of Candi Staton taking a taxi alone to the clinic and quietly asking the doctor, "If I forget my songs, will I still be me?" brings an indescribable choking feeling. For older audiences, Candi's story is a sad but incredibly honest confession. After all the storms of life, the last thing that remains with her is not a certain man, but only an old piano and a voice tinged with time. She spent her entire youth searching for love from the outside, only to realize that the only peace a woman can rely on is knowing how to cherish her own worth. Thelma Houston. Thelma Houston was once one of the most powerful icons of the colorful disco era. The smash hit Don't Leave Me. This way not only brought her a prestigious Grammy Award, but also turned her into a music phenomenon, sweeping every dance floor in the late 70s. Her voice rang out full of pride frenzy and overflowing with the desire to live. Yet behind those sparkling rainbow lights, the entertainment industry revealed an incredibly cold and ruthless face. When the disco trend gradually declined, Thelma was quickly labeled a one-hit wonder by record labels, pushed out of major media campaigns, and mercilessly replaced by younger faces more suited to the new tastes. Let us analyze the ungratefulness of the law of elimination. Entering middle age, Thelma had to face harsh prejudices about age and image. The incident that took place in Las Vegas when she had to endure derogatory remarks from the audience seats simply because they thought she was too old to sing dance music was a heavy blow to the artist's self-esteem. But I deeply admire the way she reacted. Without a word of complaint or argument, she took a graceful bow, stepped back into the dressing room, quietly shed tears, and wrote an oath of honor on the mirror. She refused to be defeated by the heartless judgments of the world, resolutely protecting her primal love for music. Today, Thelma Houston still lives a life full of pride in California. She still dresses up gorgeously, wears high heels, and burns with passion at small community events. But after the lights go out, she returns to a quiet apartment, turning off all communication devices to listen back to the cassette tape of her own youthful voice. To the audiences who understand the impermanence of life, Thelma is a wonderful model of self-healing. She does not need massive stages or the adulation of the crowd to affirm her worth. Thelma Houston teaches us that a true legend is someone who knows how to light up their own soul in silence, even if the outside world forgets them. Carla Thomas. Carla Thomas was once hailed by an incredibly proud title, the Princess of Stax Records. Possessing a voice as smooth as morning dew, she brought a rare softness and grace to a soul music world that was inherently full of fierceness and rawness. Audiences were captivated by the image of an obedient, sweet girl who specialized in singing soothing love songs. However, few understood that the very princess crown turned into a suffocating, gilded cage, imprisoning her true artistic desires. When Carla wanted to use music to speak of the raw, hidden corners of life, about single mothers, or the deep sorrows of women, she was immediately shut down by management, with the reason a princess is not allowed to sing about raw things. Let us analyze the silent resistance through the lens of self-respect. The incident occurred in 1971 when Carla discovered her name was pushed to the very bottom of the performance list, and she had to endure disrespectful remarks from backstage, becoming the final straw. I highly value her decision. Instead of screaming to reclaim her position or accepting the loss of self-respect to cling to the halo, Carla Thomas chose to quietly walk away without a word of farewell. She refused to be a lifeless piece of jewelry for an industry that only worshipped profit and was ready to eliminate artists when they were no longer obediently turning a blind eye to reality. For audiences who have bravely let go of superficial things to find peace, the current life of Carla Thomas carries an incredibly admirable beauty. Returning to live a reclusive life in a quiet countryside, she spends her time tending to her garden, writing poetry, and occasionally singing lullabies to orphaned children. She does not need a sparkling throne to prove her worth. Carla Thomas taught us a profound lesson. A woman with true royal character is not someone who tries to cling to illusory titles, but someone who knows how to stand up to protect her dignity and finds absolute freedom in a simple, quiet life. Bettye LaVette. In a music industry always obsessed with youth and perfect images, Bettye LaVette is an incredibly different existence. Throughout more than 3 decades, she was always pushed down to a backup option, rejected by record labels because her voice was too gritty, too raw, and not easy to commercialize. Bettye had to taste the ultimate bitterness of oblivion, wandering through difficult days, struggling to make a living. There were times when she thought she had completely collapsed before the harshness of fate, wandering to sell each old record at flea markets, without anyone knowing she was once an artist full of aspirations. Through the lens of analyzing the enduring vitality of true talent, Bettye LaVette's journey of revival is one of the most inspiring stories of the century. I believe that the cruelty of time can erode beauty, but it is the most wonderful spice to forge the depth of a voice. When Bettye stepped onto the honoring stage at the Kennedy Center, honors in 2005, at an age many considered far too late in life, she brought the entire auditorium to tears. There were no gimmicks to polish her name, only a voice that had wrung out the storms of life to sing the most honest words from the heart. That belated but incredibly brilliant recognition dealt a painful blow to the narrow-minded prejudices of showbiz. For you, the audience facing long-term challenges, Bettye LaVette is a brightly burning torch. Currently, even having entered her 80s, she still continues to tour persistently. She does not call herself a legend, but simply calls herself a survivor. Her story affirms an eternal truth. True gold fears no fire, and a genuine talent will never be extinguished just because of the world's rejections. Bettye's aura proves that the time you shine the brightest is not when you are youngest, but when you carry a steadfast soul that never submits to adversity. Jean Knight. Jean Knight's song, Mr. Big Stuff, was once an explosive musical phenomenon, a powerful and proud manifesto that helped awaken the self-esteem of millions of women across America. When singing those rhythmic, catchy melodies, Jean Knight appeared as a powerful goddess, confidently swatting away all the arrogance of men. Yet behind the powerful message that brought her resounding fame, she herself was bound by harsh contracts. Management forced her to live in a pre-made mold, refusing to let her release songs that spoke of the hidden pains and the true dark corners that Black women had to bear day and night. Let us look at the cruelty of commercial thinking. For an artist to only be allowed to sing what is easy to sell, while being stripped of the right to share bitter truths, is a mental exploitation. The peak of heartlessness in this industry was the incident when Jean Knight faced a serious health issue right backstage, but those in charge hesitated to take her to the emergency room just for fear of affecting the night's revenue. I assess that moment made her completely awaken and decisively withdraw from an overly callous entertainment world where human life was ranked behind material gains. For audiences who always cherish human values, the path Jean Knight chose after shaking off the halo carries a highly noble meaning. Returning to open a small restaurant in her hometown, she quietly used her influence to organize counseling sessions, helping women who had suffered many disadvantages in life. She turned the message of her old song into practical action. Today, Jean Knight still lives peacefully, occasionally appearing at local cultural events. She is proof that a great artist is not just someone who knows how to raise their voice on stage, but someone who knows how to use their hands to lift up weak souls in real life. William Bell. During the golden era of Stax Records, William Bell was a pivotal figure, the man behind the success of a series of immortal soul melodies. Possessing a smooth voice and an innate songwriting ability, he had all the elements to become a global superstar. However, William Bell was a man carrying incredibly rigid moral principles. He never accepted trading his conscience in exchange for advancement. In an environment where deception and copyright scrambling happened like a daily meal, he emerged as a solid fortress unbuyable by any force. From the perspective of analyzing professional integrity, the story of William Bell flatly refusing the demand to cross his colleagues' names off the author list to monopolize the copyright was a highly noble act. I deeply respect his lifetime quote, "In that closed-door meeting, I will never sell my soul." The price to pay for that honesty was systematic suppression. He was put on restricted media lists. His songs were not prioritized for broadcasting, preventing his music career from reaching the peak of glory that it rightfully belonged to. However, William never regretted protecting justice for his brothers. For audiences who always highly value human ethics, the image of William Bell in his twilight years living a quiet life in Atlanta carries a profoundly peaceful beauty. Inside a small basement, converted into a personal recording studio, he still quietly records songs singing about loyalty, friendship, and the core values of human beings. He preserves the important documents of past legends, like the most loyal keeper of memories. William Bell does not have massive castles built by fame, but he possesses a priceless asset, a completely clean conscience. He taught us that true wealth does not lie in million-dollar contracts, but in being able to peacefully fall asleep every night. Brenda Holloway. Brenda Holloway was once one of the most precious gems that Motown Records inadvertently found. With a gorgeous beauty, melancholic eyes, and a voice deeply infused with narrative, she was quickly directed to become a new glamour icon of the music industry. It was thought that Brenda would obediently follow the rose-paved path laid out by the capitalists, but deep inside that slender girl was an extraordinarily steadfast will. She did not want to become a beautiful doll who only knew how to sing melodies pandering to tastes. Brenda yearned to sing about the depths of the soul, about faith and the sorrows of humanity. Let us analyze the courage in refusing privileges to protect one's true self. The fact that Brenda Holloway dared to flatly reject a love song predicted to become a massive hit just because she didn't want to be framed in a sexy vocalist image was an event that shook the management system at the time. I assess that this is the act of an incredibly pure artistic soul. The punishment that followed was utterly cold. Her music projects were frozen and she was gradually replaced by faces more willing to compromise. However, instead of collapsing or begging for pity, Brenda chose to turn her back on the glamorous world, leaving the entertainment industry, while still at the peak of her beauty. For listeners who always cherish authenticity, the image of Brenda Holloway spending the rest of her life quietly teaching music for free to children at a church brings immeasurable warmth. Her crying in the night was not regret for fame, but the yearning of a soul that was far too deep, yet born in the wrong era. Brenda Holloway does not need anyone to pity her unfinished career. She is an original masterpiece that cannot be copied or edited. Her life is a proud manifesto. True art is when the artist dares to protect the sacredness of their singing voice, even if it means trading an entire brilliant sky of fame and wealth. Maxine Brown. In an era where girl groups dominated the charts, Maxine Brown emerged as a hidden gem, carrying within her the most sobbing and sorrowful heartbeats of soul music. Possessing a voice filled with countless thoughts, she not only sang, but also personally composed deep ballads, realistically portraying the inner, hidden corners and struggles of women. However, in an era where society always expected Black women to appear on stage with radiant smiles and joyful dances to entertain the audience, her melancholic songs were flatly rejected by record labels because they were deemed too heavy and unsuited for commercial tastes. Let us analyze the protection of dignity under the pressure of money. The fact that Maxine Brown was threatened by management to freeze her career just because she refused to wear revealing sexy outfits to attract customers is a sad testament to the objectification of female artists. I highly admire her bravery. She would rather accept losing lucrative contracts, rather retreat to sing on small stages in churches or hidden corners without flashing lights than ever lower her own value in exchange for fame. That steadfastness caused her to be marginalized by the industry for over 3 decades, but it kept her soul absolutely pure. The event of her accidentally becoming a social media phenomenon in her 80s when a clip of her singing softly in a nursing home went viral opened an opportunity for her to return to the big stage. Yet the way Maxine declined a prestigious performance invitation from the Smithsonian Institution once again affirmed the character of a legend. She does not need a belated stage to prove she is still alive. Maxine Brown taught us that the value of a soul is not measured by the applause of the crowd. When people have found self-respect from deep within the halo of the outside world, is just a superficial thing not worth worrying about. Mabel John. Long before mega names like Diana Ross or Martha Reeves took the world by storm, Mabel John was the very first solo female artist to sign a contract with the legendary Motown label. Possessing a thick, sharp blues voice, deeply infused with worldly experiences, she was expected to become a new music icon. However, ironically, her name was almost erased from the golden history pages of this record label. The reason did not lie in her talent, but in the fact that her appearance did not meet the strict standards of modern femininity that the media of the time was trying to impose on Black women. Let us analyze the pride in preserving one's original identity. The fact that management forced Mabel John to lose weight, change her style, and even lighten her skin color to easily reach mainstream audiences was a deep insult to her self-esteem. I greatly admire her spirited quote when deciding to walk away from the prestigious contract. "I don't need to change the color of my skin to sing like myself." That refusal cost her 15 years of being banned from all recording activities, completely isolated by a power system that did not want its dark corners brought to light. But life always has wonderful arrangements. In her twilight years, instead of living in resentment or regretting the halo Mabel, John found a peaceful haven 1,000 times more meaningful. She became a minister, founding an organization to take in and support women who had suffered many disadvantages and been oppressed in the entertainment industry, for audiences who always look towards moral values. Mabel John's journey is a brilliantly shining lighthouse. She stepped through the darkness of oblivion to become a protector for the next generation. Even if her singing only echoes in the quiet space of a church, it carries a power of salvation greater than any stage in the world. Ruby Andrews. Closing this highly emotional list is Ruby Andrews, the voice that once captivated so many hearts with the love song Casanova. That song is about women who mistakenly gave their love to the wrong person, and sadly it was also a reflection of her own fate, full of ups and downs. Starting her career from small studios in Chicago, Ruby conquered audiences with real ability. However, music management stripped her of the opportunity to step onto big stages for an incredibly short-sighted reason. They thought her appearance lacked the magnetism to become a true star by the screen's standards. Through the lens of analyzing the cruelty of human hearts, the incident that struck Ruby Andrews was a fatal wound. Discovering that her manager and also the man she trusted and gave her affections to had secretly sold the copyright of her voice to another singer for personal profit was the ultimate betrayal. I assess that the moment her name was wiped clean from the recordings she herself had poured her heart into caused Ruby to completely lose faith in the entertainment world. Instead of rushing into exhausting lawsuits or clinging to the past, she made an incredibly serene decision, walking away from all the stage lights and hiding herself under a different name. For listeners who always understand the value of peace, the image of Ruby Andrews dedicating 20 full years in anonymity to teach music to disabled children carries an incredibly sacred beauty. She was no longer an abandoned singer, but became a great mother giving away unconditional love. When a student accidentally recognized her in a Chicago park in her twilight years, her gentle smile and the answer, "Now I am the grandmother of the children I never gave birth to," melted every heart. The life of Ruby Andrews, closing the journey of these 19 figures, is a perfect testament to healing. Fame may deceive us, people may betray us, but the kindness and peace we personally plant will forever be an eternal asset no one can take away. Closing the video, we hope the stories of ups and downs just shared have brought you profound perspectives on the price of the halo, as well as the fierce vitality of music legends. Wishing you always relaxing, joyful, and warm moments with your beloved family. If you found this video meaningful, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell to catch the latest videos from our memory vault. Goodbye, and see you again.